Hi, everyone. My name is Ambrose, and welcome to Beyond the Device, a show where we discuss the many hardware and software technologies it takes to support a mobile workforce. Today, we have two guests from 3i Technologies. Danielle Zebel, Chief Revenue Officer.
Hi there. Thanks for having us, Ambrose.
And Shelby Warner, Senior Marketing Manager.
Hello. Happy to be here.
So 2025, we did 7 road shows. I was exhausted. I don't know if you felt the same way. But 2026, we're going back on the road for the Connected Solutions Expo. So this is going to be our 3rd year putting it on. Tell us about it, Danielle.
Well, life on the road isn't for the faint of heart, Ambrose. You've learned that the hard way. But we are so excited to get back on the road. I'll talk a little bit about just the way that these events came about. For us, 3i, back in 2023, our solutions became available through AT&T Speed. So we've got about 45 line card partners today. Prior to that point in time, we didn't have a direct billing path through AT&T to get our solutions downstream into the market. That all changed in 2023, which was a big deal for us. And since then, the AT&T route to market has become a very important one to us and one that we're committed to growing. So toward that end, we put our heads together, those of us in the room, along with our peer Rita Stryker, along with Chris Cooper at AT&T Proof of Concept Labs, along with Scott DeLillo, longtime friend of 3i, over at Team Samsung, to bring this event series to life. So it's been a fast and furious couple of years. We've been to 14 different markets, had 14 stops at least along the way over the last 2 years, and we're excited to run it back in 2026.
Samsung's been a big partner for these. I remember when we first met Scott and his team, he saw the vision of creating a accessory and software ecosystem that supports Samsung devices. And then it kind of started to snowball, and we started to network with Jonathan that was starting to manage the Speed program. So shout out to Scott, right? I mean, that's been a really great partnership.
Yeah, it was a culmination of a lot of things that happened in perfect timing. If you've got any familiarity with 3i's tech stack, right, we focus really on enabling the deskless worker with the tech they need. All of us have an endpoint, a phone, a tablet in our hands. We rely on that device to do our jobs. A lot of the things that come across the desks of us, Team 3i, they're mobile deployments that are happening in tandem with the deployment of a Samsung Galaxy device, for example. So we already had a lot of shared business and projects and end customers with the Samsung team. I think Speed coming into the equation as a path to market that both Samsung, 3i, and 3i vendors needed to utilize and invest in growing just fast-tracked the effort.
And doing a roadshow series was our first foray into like figuring out what it takes to find venues, get sponsorships, get attendees registered. Shelby, when you started in marketing, that wasn't initially what your role was, but then we figured out that this requires a full-time body to be able to understand what needs to be done and the mechanics of it all, right?
We sure did. There was a big learning curve, but we figured it out, and I think we did so successfully. And it's been a whirlwind of 2 years, but it's been good.
So why the focus on AT&T specifically?
I mean, AT&T is an industry giant in the carrier space, in the IT space, one of the major 3 carriers here in the United States, and I think anybody who values carriers as an element in their route to market strategy is going to value AT&T, right? AT&T does a tremendous job at covering different industries and market segments, and not only making sure that their customers have what they need from a mobile and wireline standpoint, but that they're doing their role in bringing together full solutions for their customers downstream in the marketplace. So 3i, our role in that equation is really kind of functioning as a quarterback in that equation. We want to make it easy for AT&T sellers on either side of the house to bring those solution elements together in a way that's meaningful and doesn't detract from their ability to work efficiently and grow their books of business. So As I said earlier, AT&T's speed and making our brands available through that route to market was a game changer in terms of our focus on AT&T and our commitment to growing that.
And this wasn't, I mean, the attendees that are there are AT&T sellers, but they're also the channel partners that support AT&T customers. So the big NSP resellers to the alliance partners, those folks are always welcome too. But AT&T is just taking now, it seems to be a heavier hand when it comes to having like a complete solution. They're great with the connectivity. They're great with understanding private LTE, and they have long-standing, long-term relationships with their customers who are kind of at this point demanding that if I come to you to get these activations, I want to be able to get everything else, or I'm going to be going to a different source, which may require a more complicated procurement path.
Sure, more administration. I mean, I think one of the great things that AT&T has is a partner community that's second to none, right? So they have the Alliance channel partners, they have the Apex partners, they have a lot of master agents that do a really great job selling and deploying AT&T services. Those folks, to your point, Ambrose, are welcome to attend these events. They're a prime candidate for attendance because similarly, right, they have a charter that's similar to AT&T's in many ways in terms of being an entity that AT&T can tap on the shoulder and say, hey, I've got a customer with a really complex mobility rollout. I need you guys to come in and take down the accessories and the services portion of this deal. I got the activations. We can quarterback both entities and make that process run really, really smoothly in terms of getting them the solution components they need. We can demo it for them in the lab. We can quote it. We can work with the AT&T Speed team to make sure that it's resourced and they are going to their customers confidently to position these things.
It's also been helpful for the AT&T Proof of Concept Lab. Chris is partner of ours we work closely with. I was just in Dallas helping him set up his studio for his POC cast podcast, which was really exciting to get set up. But they take advantage of these relationships that we bring forth. We almost kind of filter out vendors that don't make sense and ones that they should focus on to bring into their proof of concept labs, which are across the country, get something stood up that complements the AT&T connectivity, and then they showcase these products to enterprise level customers that tour their labs every single day.
Yeah, I mean, Chris and team over at AT&T Proof of Concept Lab, shout out to you, Chris Cooper. They have a really cool job in that their charter is really to bring in enterprise AT&T customers into Proof of Concept Labs and show them the art of possible. Chris talks about customers that come to them with a question to say, hey, could we do this, or is this possible? And his answer to that is, let's try to build it in the lab and see for ourselves, right? Let's take a really hands-on approach to technical validation and making sure that this solution or these solutions do what you need it to do in the use case. So one really interesting and cool outcome of this event series was getting connected with the Proof of Concept Labs team at AT&T. They attended our Atlanta show, I believe it was in 2024, and kind of saw this exhibitor lineup that was, leading edge, differentiated, and familiar at the same time, because these are technologies and solutions that AT&T customers need. So what's happened is that a lot of our exhibitors have ended up getting their product within AT&T Proof of Concept Labs, which at the time back in 2023 was in the midst of sort of a major overhaul, and they're still in the midst of it. They're putting up new labs. They're building them out with leading edge, cutting edge technology and demo capabilities. So the fact that our exhibitors out of this event have become a part of that and part of Chris and team's ability to showcase these solutions and their capabilities to AT&T enterprise customers is fantastic and unexpected.
We have a lot of exhibitors and vendor partners that support a variety of industries. Shelby, can you tell us some key highlights or specific technology vendor callouts?
Yeah, throughout 2024 and 2025, we had 37 unique vendor exhibitors represented at our shows. This ranged from hardware to software, and it was representative of antenna manufacturers, routers, and connectivity systems. We had mounting solutions, device peripherals, and accessories, wearables and scanning solutions, security and MDM software, telematics, drones, and the list certainly goes on. There was really something for everyone in the room.
And typically we see across industries and across company sizes really these buckets of solution elements that everyone needs. The first element is the device, right? And for us, that's the mobile endpoint. The second thing is connectivity of that device, which obviously AT&T checks that box. And a lot of the connectivity hardware manufacturers help to check that box. The third thing is accessories, right? So that piece of OEM hardware out in the world, once it leaves the four walls of an office space, does what it's supposed to do and is oriented properly in its environment. And then the last thing is the enterprise applications, the industry applications that need to run on those devices for the actual user to do their job. So our exhibitor lineup has been a culmination of each of those buckets. And I think for the B2B customer attendees, our AT&T attendees, and our exhibitors, I mean, everybody benefits from this better together exhibitor lineup we have, because it's the difference of, looking at a vendor website and coming into an environment where you can see a Samsung Tab Active 5 connected to AT&T's network in a RAM mount running industry applications, and it's a game changer. So it's a very tech-forward approach to solution demonstration at these events, which we're really proud of and, are thankful that we have vendors who are willing to do that at a really elevated level.
Sometimes the shows feel like just a blur after they're done. Shelby, can you talk about metrics on the attendee numbers?
Yeah, we're really proud of our attendance numbers over the last 2 years. So we've had over 1,000 non-exhibitor unique attendees. Like Danielle was alluding to earlier, these aren't just AT&T folks. It's actually a pretty good split. We've had over 500 AT&T representatives come through our doors. The other half of that mix is made up of solution providers and B2B customers. And we've had some pretty notable B2B logos as well.
It's been a good mix, I've noticed, on the road, where it is AT&T badged folks. It's the big national reseller partners, which are our customers, which is really great too. So we invite those folks to come attend, meet with us, and the alliance partners. Those have been a great turnout, bringing their customers arm in arm just to check out all of the solutions. What is any specific call-outs or highlights that come to mind through 2025?
I would say this, Kiana Knight at AT&T and Jonathan Walter on Team AT&T Speed have done a tremendous job at operationalizing AT&T and making this non-stock program excellent. I mean, the vendors and the brands that are available through AT&T Speed today is a growing list. And so I think, in 24 and 25, the endeavor was equal parts solution showcase, but it was also largely educational. At the time, a lot of AT&T folks weren't super familiar with AT&T Speed, its availability, how it works, why it's in their best advantage to be familiar with it, and how it can help them ultimately grow their spend with customers. So, now that Speed is what it is and it's established in the way that it has been over the last couple of years, I think the charter shifts from not, hey, it exists and you should use it, to, hey, here's how to best utilize it, and here are some of the brands that are available through Speed that your specific customers need. These are solutions that are deployed in the marketplace with your customers. AT&T, you should be positioning yourself as a procurement vehicle for these types of solutions.
If I'm an exhibitor or manufacturer and I want to be involved in the Connected Solutions Expo series, what do I do?
Get in touch with us. Definitely reach out. We'd love to hear from you and figure out a way that you could be involved.
Get in touch, and I would add this, because we sit in distribution and it's a pretty unique vantage point of vendor complaints and partner complaints. Every vendor is going to complain and say, hey, my partners aren't bringing me leads. And every partner is going to complain and say, hey, my vendor's not bringing me enough leads. We've really tried to control our own destiny in creating a forum to bring the right people into the right room at the right time. So it removes the barrier of, you put in a phone call, you wait to hear back, you send an email, you follow up on an email. When you're a vendor and you're bringing solutions to market through indirect channels, it can be a long and painstaking process. So the reality is, if you're an exhibitor and you walk into this show and you're able to not only talk to your ideal customer profile in the room with IT decision makers, but also the people who are selling to them, whether it's their AT&T Client Solutions executive or their AT&T solution provider partner, that cuts out a lot of the dead time that you'd otherwise just be kind of twiddling your fingers and waiting for a response during. So we try to fast track these opportunities, and it's been really incredible to see marketing qualified leads turn into sales qualified leads over the course of a single 15-minute conversation. It happens quickly, and the app generation we've seen is really compelling.
Yeah, it's not like a big trade show where attendees are there just to pick up your free pen and koozie and move on.
Although
to the
we
next
do
table.
have free pens.
We do.
There is swag.
So if you're an AT&T seller or you work in the channel and you're looking to attend one of these shows, it doesn't cost you anything to just attend.
Correct.
So we would encourage everybody, if possible, while we're on the road, to make an effort to come and see us.
Yeah, so 2026 feels like a big year for us. We're actually going to be visiting repeat markets that we've been to in the past. These are markets that we've seen good engagement in when we visited previously. So it's a bit of a victory lap, if you will. But we're going to be in Atlanta, San Jose, New York City, and Dallas. When we've been there previously, we've had over 500 attendees in these 4 cities alone.
What are the venues for these locations?
So we're really excited for the first time ever this year. We're actually going to be hosting 2 of these venues on AT&T property. In New York City, we're going to be at the AT&T Long Lines building. And then in Dallas, we're going to be at the Discovery District. Samsung is graciously hosting us again at the semiconductor facility in San Jose. And then in Atlanta, we're going to be at a venue that's just minutes away from the Alpharetta AT&T office.
All right, so I'm an attendee. I've registered. I show up to the venue. What does the day look like?
So in its 3rd year, we feel like we've really dialed in the format of these events. The entire expo takes place over just one afternoon. It's an open solutions showcase, so attendees can show up, walk the room, see what our exhibitors have to offer. It's not a rigid agenda. It's just a really kind of loose time to be able to see what we have available and have meaningful conversation. We usually end the showcase with a brief keynote, and then we head directly into an on-site happy hour for just an additional few hours of time for networking and more connection.
We really appreciate our vendor partners that come to exhibit at these shows. Is there a specific lineup we have this year?
Yeah, our exhibitor lineup is already taking shape, and we're really excited about who is going to be with us on the road this year. We have several people signed up already. We have Ram Mounts, ACO, Ina, Inseego, Powerfleet, Outer Factor, Havas, Ericsson, Urban Armor Gear, Absolute Security, Datamation Systems, Panorama Antennas, and more are being added even now. So if you're interested, we'd love to have you. Reach out.
All right, we'll see you on the road in 2026. Thanks so much.